Hey, collective, what is going on? Welcome into the channel. So happy to have you here with me always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to be looking at Mercury retrograde for the next month or so via the tarot, astrology, and any channeled messages that come in. So let's get into it. So happy to have you here on this special occasion. I decided to go live. I had a little extra time, extra space to do so, and it sounded a little more fun than just making the video. So I'm excited if you're able to join me live or whenever you find this reading. So the main astrological components to Mercury retrograde are Venus. I've been talking about this a little bit on the channel. I also want to acknowledge Mercury retrograde's already started. I'm fully aware. We're about 4 days in. Well, tomorrow's going to be March 1st. I'm sorry, 2 days. It went retrograde, excuse me, on February 26th, and it's going to stay in retrograde through the month of March, through Pisces season, more specifically until March 20th. So we'll dive deep into what that's going to look like throughout the month, but topically speaking, it's definitely highlighting relationships. It's mainly aspecting Venus and then some Mars and some Sun energy throughout the month. So it is highlighting that principle of masculine and feminine duality, so to speak. The way we're kind of navigating. Hey, Karen, so excited to see you. So glad. I know, no, I appreciate it. I'm sorry. I know some of my early morning ones are early for some of us, so I apologize, but I am so excited to see you here. Thank you for always joining in. I appreciate you, and I hope you're doing well. I hope your Mercury retrograde's off to a good start. um like I was mentioning, it's highlighting, right, our relationships, our dynamics, and how they're really working in our life. And there is this energy surrounding self, that exploration of making sure that we're paying enough time, attention to ourselves, giving ourselves the validation, the love, the care. Hey, girl, so good to see you. Yay, so fun. I'm excited you're here. It does make it fun too when we have friends joining together. I hope you're having a great, well, I hope your Mercury retrograde's off to a good start as well. Um, yeah, I love going live and I love you guys to interact. I hope you always know that. I know I kind of do my little spiel and maybe say that, but just touching on, it's fun when we can kind of interact and engage. And I obviously am a firm believer in collective consciousness, that sometimes what we're navigating through, etc., it actually is good to bring it to the table to kind of highlight some of the stuff, the challenges, because most often people are experiencing the same thing in a different kind of way, through different experiences, is what I should say. That's why I do love collective energy, collective support, coming together as a community. It's really important right now too, because there are a lot of things changing, and I think, I've kind of said this a lot on broken record style. I apologize, but it's true. We're in the midst of eclipse season. We're coming up on a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, which is actually kind of a nice energy. We'll talk about that a little bit too, and I will upload a video on that as well. Stay tuned. But community support is very important, especially when we're going through navigating things that might be a little bit harder to see through, that might be a little harder to see clearly. We're kind of left to our own devices in a lot of different ways right now. Just meaning that, we have to figure out our way forward. Oh, nice. I love that. Oh, I love that affirmation, Karen. That's awesome. Today is the first day of the first day of the best time of my life. I love that. It's, and there are a lot of good things unfolding as the changes are happening. Like I said, we just have to really trust our instincts. I know that goes without saying, but it's that devotion to self, that confidence, courage, strength, and self that we are building and growing in right now. So I know I've talked a lot. Let's get into the reading. I'd like to start off with an energy cleansing. Just set the tone, set the vibe for the reading. Cleanse out those places we might feel blocked and limited. It's a great time to set your own intention for the reading as well, especially if you've come in with something on your heart, on your mind, on your soul, something you would like Spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give that over. Be open to receive. Spirit's always looking to speak to us. And oftentimes we just have to ask, which is pretty fabulous, right? I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, definitely hit me up. I also do, excuse me, I got thrown off. I also do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. Just that value that when we're strong, grounded in self, that's really where we're operating out of our happiness, our fulfillment, our abundance. And it's where we can tap into manifesting the desires of our heart. If we're not feeling well, if we're not aligned with self, then it's really hard to do that, right? And I would love to help support that in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up if you're interested. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so we may see and understand messages clearly and help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love. All right. Sorry, I got a bunch of ash everywhere. All right. So, I'm here, I feel like definitely the energy is opening up. We were seeing this as in the reading I did today, even kind of like bubbling underneath the surface in the past few readings. And Mercury is an active energy. It's the energy of intelligence, communication, how we're interacting with one another, and whether it's a beneficial flow or not. I'm hearing like whether or not people are really understanding you is going to be highlighted throughout the month. It's interesting because there aren't a lot of transits or aspects throughout the month, like exact transits with Mercury. So on one level, Mercury retrograde is kind of quiet. It's not saying things aren't going to happen, but there is this element of like not getting ahead of yourself. That's what I was kind of picking up. Like a lot of energy rushing into this, like we're ready to go. The seasons are starting to change. We're feeling like just ready for some goodness, ready for some freedom. And I love, Karen, to use you as an example, like just how you're speaking that truth, speaking that affirmation. I think those are really important things to do for ourselves because that's essentially putting our mind, our brain on the right wavelength, right? Instead of sitting there, this isn't working, etc. It's flipping that perception, flipping that perspective. And we're going to have to do that a lot this month, especially with some of the challenges, the obstacles we come into. Overarching energy, I love this. Attract through the glow. It's so true, and I think it's a really interesting process when we go from trying to make things happen chasing after, achieve, do, versus surrender and say, okay, I'm going to put that focus, that energy on myself and let my light shine bright. As maybe cheesy as that sounds, I don't mean it in that way, but that value of like, the more we invest in ourselves, the more it shines through. And Ayurveda is a huge proponent of this, that it's actually like helping our luminosity, our vitality, our ability to kind of function and flow in a harmonious way. And that's what surrender gives us. Yes, sometimes we do need to be active. I feel like the active parts of our life right now are that self-investment, however that's showing up for you. And it might look different at different times throughout the month because, like I said, we're getting this kind of wave effect where in the astrology it's quiet for the first week and then we get this little pop of energy and then it goes quiet again, and then we get some kind of things that towards the end of Mercury retrograde might be a little bit messy, might be a little bit harder to navigate through. Or maybe I shouldn't say it that way, it's more about the preparation of self in this time. So connecting with some of your unknown gifts, right? Kind of having, as we're changing perspective, as we're looking at things through a different lens in your own life, it's some of that exploration is helping you uncover gifts, desires, passions within yourself that either you haven't really paid attention to, or perhaps you've forgotten about. Or the more that you kind of explore, the more it's going to become prevalent. Like the more it's going to remind you of like, yeah, I loved doing this. This felt really good. And choosing to engage in that energy, again, that's part of the attraction through the glow. Focusing on the big picture as you're uncovering some of this stuff. So I think a lot of where we're being side railed, if that's a word, sidetracked or derailed, because I was hearing as things are opening up, there's this excitement, there's this readiness, but we can trip ourselves up, especially if we start moving too quickly. And I feel like that's where the tense aspects of Mercury and Mars are going to come into play. Let me look at my, we're going to see that a little bit. Hold on a second. We're going to see that a little bit more towards the end, the last 5 or so days of Mercury retrograde. Like I said, that's where we're seeing tension. We're seeing it with Mars and also with Black Moon Lilith. We'll also see how it plays out in the tarot, or yeah, in the cards. But funny enough or not, perception comes up in that spot, in that energy as we move forward, right? So we can, I think there's a lot of preparatory work. I know I said that already, but I'm really feeling that value of preparing self, tapping into those things, those foundational pieces of yourself. And it doesn't even have to be something new for you with this unknown gift. Like I said, it could just be something that you've been nurturing or that you're wanting to nurture, and you start investing in it a little bit more. And as it unfolds, like it's allowing something to manifest in your life that is a little bit bigger than maybe what you're even seeing on this side of things. But as we keep growing, expanding, evolving, we have some stuff that's coming into play that, whether or not it's intentional, trying to trip us up, to be determined. Everyone's situation is going to be different, but it's more about like a blip in the road is what I'm seeing, because this shake, release, and heal is like shake it off, right? One of my friends always used to say, like, grow those feathers on your back a little bit longer, just let it roll off your back like a duck's tail feathers. Sorry, maybe that's coming out a little bit weird, but that's exactly what this reminds me of. And I think Black Moon Lilith and even Mars sometimes can be very tricky energies, like people, situations that are trying to just say whatever they need to say to you in order to get the results that they need to get, but like they don't really need to be honest. We'll see how that plays out a little bit more. So, nourishing the shadow, that's in our blocked energy. There might be some resistance because you are feeling really good and strong. There's a lot of empowerment that's happening, and it makes a lot of sense because in the beginning of Mercury retrograde, these first few weeks, like I said, it's a little calm and quiet. And where we're seeing things aspected with Mercury, it's more positive. We get the sun, we get Jupiter. Jupiter is our success, it's our fortune, it's our abundance. The sun is our ego. And so we're feeling good about things. And that's exactly what's manifesting in the cards, right? Beginning of the month. It's like tapping into other sides of yourself that are strengthening you, that are empowering you, that are feeling good. You're kind of hitting a new stride in your step. And, again, it's reminding you that don't get lost, I think, in the big picture. Like, I'm hearing this as like having that bird's eye perspective, maintaining that. I'll see how the tarot plays out. Maintaining that bird's eye perspective, right? But not getting too lost in the details. Because I think some of those details are the things that you're going to have to shift your perspective around and let it go. It's things that you can't control, but it is something that might make you want to either stick your head in the sand or ignore or whatever that may be for you. Okay, let's see how it's going. Okay, I like this energy. Strong, Queen of Swords. You're coming in. I like this. She looks like a badass, right? She's just like ready to go. I love the Queen of Swords energy because she's not afraid. She's not afraid to take action and take action in a way that's highest and best, not only for her, yes, for everyone involved, but she makes the hard choices. She's not afraid to do that. And especially, excuse me, I'm drawn to this snake that's coiled around her, especially when it comes to things that she knows are detrimental for herself. So we got Four of Swords, maybe spending a little too much time, like maybe you need to get out a little bit. I know Mercury, obviously, like I said, it deals with communication and interaction, and it can make technology and all that stuff wonky, or even our conversations between one another. And so it looks like part of the way that you're safeguarding yourself is maybe staying home more or just not being very social, not being very interactive. It's kind of working to your detriment in the beginning. I think it's like you just don't want to be bothered, is what I'm hearing, right? Like, so it's almost easier to kind of self protect than put yourself out there and deal with someone who's annoying. So, and it doesn't even have to be like someone in your current environment. This can be like new people that you're trying to interact with or that are helping this unknown gift kind of enliven within you. So I'm saying, especially because the beginning of the month is pretty quiet, it's actually a really good time to kind of put yourself out there a little bit, see what's around, see what's going on. I think even maybe just kind of enjoying some, special activities with friends, family, people that are close to you, people that you really enjoy spending time with. I think that's a huge um not underlying theme, but it's very important right now because we need that sense of safety and stability, especially when we are coming into these things that we can't really pick up other people's stuff, right? And I think that that's where this shadow is popping up in our blocked energy, making sure that you're not letting other people or situations pull you back into a place where maybe you do want to put your head in the sand, or it pushes you into a state of fear, anxiety, depression, just something that like it looks like you've worked really hard to kind of come out of. Yes, you're taking time for yourself and moving slow, but this is more about meditation, like being in a meditative state, right? That quintessential self-love, self-care, and not as much about being lazy. I mean, I guess it can be, but again, I don't see it as you being lazy. I see it as you picking and choosing what you really want to be dealing with. And it's only because of the people and situations that you've had to deal with to date. So I like it. It's a good start. I feel like there are some really validating things coming in for you as we move through the first week or so. Again, you're starting to connect with this energy of attracting through who you are, the way you're orchestrating yourself, the way you are putting yourself out there. I think this is a really beautiful energy for you because you're being decided. You're being decided about what is able to infiltrate your energy. And it makes people interested, right? We have this Page of Coins, Page of Pentacles as we're moving through. There might be some offers that are coming in, or you're finally opening up to some new interactions that you're taking time for yourself to make sure, again, that it's where you want to put your investment. It's a small thing. It's we've kind of talked about this, like not getting too hell bent on having everything at once. Like, it's actually good when things start out small, when we have the opportunity to really test out whether or not it fits with our energy, if it's really what we want to kind of, again, invest in, right? And usually when things are slow and steady or start out small, that's what ends up carrying more longevity with it. And that's where I think that focusing on the bigger picture is really important. Um, we have, like I said, it's mainly good transits beginning of the month until we hit, I shouldn't say until we hit, but more of the tension, more of the frustration are going to be those little things that pop up underneath the surface, right? When we don't want to be bothered to deal with X, Y, and Z, And I like this, again, being picky and choosy with where you're investing your time. And so whatever this is that's coming around for you, I can clarify this. It feels good. Nice. Okay. Queen of Cups, Two of Pentacles, and Six of Pentacles. So this is something you can kind of sense, you feel is coming in for you. And here's the thing, I think it is going to make your life a little busier on one level, but it's also going to add to your stability at the same time. So this feels like a really good omen. And especially if you are looking to make a little bit more money, whatever that looks like for you, raise, side hustle, second job, or maybe you're trying to like par down how much you're working but making more money. This definitely feels like that. Not the whole package, not like you're getting 20 grand bonus or something like that. It's more like, hey, I have this idea, let's start this thing. It's gonna be lucrative, or in the long run it feels like it has a lot of lucrative energy surrounding it. But with that Queen of Cups, excuse me, sorry, my voice is a little hoarse tonight. I'm still getting over some respiratory stuff, but it's like really making sure to tune into self, to really dial in, because it might feel like, nah, do I really want to do that? That's the downside of the Queen of Swords. She can be a little bit too self-protective, or and I think it comes from a good place from you. I feel like you've been in a lot of positions where you've had to be either judgmental or critical about people's situations because it has been toxic, or it has been something that you've really needed to weed out. And you're doing just that, right? But I think the way that you're perceiving this shift and change to happen is definitely looking a little bit different in real time, which is kind of normally how it goes, right? We have our ideas, our fantasies about how they're going to work out. But in reality, um, All right, let's see who this King of Cups is. In reality, it does kind of take on a different form. I think that's part of the magic and the excitement, right? We do see some old energy popping up. I think that there is, like I said, relationships are going to be center focus. So you have some new energies coming in that are small but promising. It feels good. You might want to sit on it for a minute when you're making your decision, or like I said, just like make sure you're tuning into like what you really want. If it seems exciting, if it's not like some crazy too good to be true scheme, but it seems exciting, it feels, like, oh, this could be really great, definitely do your due diligence, find out what it's all about, but it's worth pursuing is what I'm hearing. And then we have some past energy popping up, of course. Oh, okay. Two of Swords. So someone is Queen or King of Cups, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Jupiter is in retrograde in Cancer right now. And we're in Pisces season. So there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of feelings being triggered. Most of them are good, but where we're seeing the tension is actually with that Uranus energy, which I've talked about. Uranus went direct beginning of last month. It's in Taurus, and it's this energy of like things are changing, but we're still contending with some stuff of the past. And there are some things that we kind of have to work with in order to make it work out for ourselves in the long run, even if we don't want to work with that energy, or even if it's more annoying and frustrating. Again, never put yourself in harm's way, but this is just more like a distasteful energy. And I feel like this King of Cups, whomever this is to you, it has a lot of emotional attachments around it. Someone who is feeling left out. I feel like this is someone who's like watching you from the sidelines. They're watching you kind of move forward in your life to whatever capacity. And they feel like you haven't really given them a fair shake. You haven't given them a fair chance. But I don't know. It also looks like they're just watching you. Sorry. I'm drawn towards his tear, the single tear falling down. That's kind of what this energy reminds me of, It's more victim mentality, woe is me, than it is like, oh shoot, I'm missing out on collective. And I don't say that to be hurtful. It's this value of like someone who just can't go there, and so they won't. And so it's easier to say, well, collective's doing this and I've been trying X, Y, and Z and blah, 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 and they're just not listening. And if anything, they're kind of like, keeping me out of things type vibe, like just blaming you for things that aren't really true. Because when it comes to their energy, they have a choice. They can decide whether they want to put forth the effort or not. The ball is in their court. Just because you're in this space of like not really caring too much about, I don't want to say you don't care, but you're being very decisive with how much you care about people and situations. And again, if you're dealing with someone who's making things incredibly emotional and then playing the victim on top of it, it gets a little old, especially because you are in this Queen of Swords vibe of just like, I'm not gonna put up with this, basically, is what I'm hearing. Let me clarify you and your interactions. I'm wondering if this person's gonna force you to make a decision, is kind of what I'm seeing. They're making a decision, but I think that they also want to like put it back on your plate. Yeah, okay, so we have King of Swords, the Wheel. That King of Swords has been coming up a lot for us as well. And as I'm saying that, okay, so this could be someone that you have partnership relationship with. A lot's changing. That's what I'm seeing. A lot's changing, and you have a lot of people surrounding you that have a lot of different opinions about that. It looks like this King of Cups is someone that you're dealing with more specifically. This King of Swords could be someone that is like waiting in the background, whatever this Page of Pentacles is for you. I'm feeling like maybe this is connected to this person who's kind of like looking to partner up with you in whatever kind of way, because their energy is also waiting in the background. But it's not as much of like, I feel like that's more about right timing, right? Right place, right time. They want to get themselves right, and they know they're going to be dealing with you. So, and that maybe they can't get so far, or that they have to, I'm hearing like they have to have their plan in place before they can't go in and just wing it. They actually have to kind of articulate or collect their thoughts, what they want to say, how they want to connect with you, because for them it's a big deal. And it doesn't have to be love. The lovers is partnership, it's relationship. It is those people that we meet in life that feel like a meant to be connection, right? And like I said, it doesn't have to be love. It can be friends, it can be family, it can be new community, new job, however that plays out for you. Like I said, there's a lot of money on the table. So money could be looking up. And as I pointed out earlier, Mercury is positively aspected to Jupiter. So that's a plus, right? Even though Jupiter is a little bit lazy right now, no offense, because it is in Cancer, and we're kind of, it brings this energy of like, well, why isn't this happening for me? I've been doing this over and over and over again, and why aren't I seeing results? That's what that Jupiter in retrograde in Cancer does. But I think Mercury is bringing a lot of decisive energy this month of like, again, who's who and what's what, and forcing us to maybe look at things through a different lens. It might be painful, but Ayurveda even says like that's the best thing that we can do for ourselves is be honest, right? Be honest about what the reality of our relationships are. That's like the most beneficial thing we can do for our mind, our body, our soul. And not because it's always easy. Sometimes we do have to see things about people, about dynamics that feel heartbreaking and humbling at the same time. And like I was saying, we're starting to see that towards the end of the month, where it's not horrible. The tension isn't super overt, but we're seeing the tension with Mercury, with Mars, and with Black Moon Lilith. And so, and then Mars is also tensely aspected to Chiron, which, if we're not getting our way, if we're not like seeing the momentum, or maybe we're trying to work it out with someone that says this is just a for example, don't take it if it doesn't resonate with your situation. But I'm hearing it's like, if you're, let's say you're trying to work something out with someone, and they say, yeah, I'm on board, da da da. You have conversations, you're kind of clear on things, and then they just change their mind, right? Well, maybe, or they start flaking out of things, hey, let's be friends again. And then they have all these excuses, or, and you're kind of seeing, well, maybe this was just about making them feel better, or whatever it may be. That's very representative of that Mars tensely aspected to Chiron, right? Where it's like, we might know instinctually this person isn't really trying to be my friend, or they're not trying to heal the relationship. And so I got to listen to my instincts. And that's very important right now, especially with Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries. It's been there for a few weeks now, but essentially we're taking what our intuitive guidance is telling us and about ourselves, about our relationships, about how they're affecting us. And it's forcing us to uncover those places where we have to put in a little more work, a little more love, a little more energy. And I feel like that's some of the difficulty or defeat that we're seeing as we're moving towards the end of the month, right? It's those little pieces of trickery that are like, oh, I thought that this was actually going to work out. But, well, the devil's in our blocked energy. We get Three of Wands. So understanding that something is taking a little bit longer to hammer out. Again, this feels like, I don't know what happened. I think I put my King of Swords or my King of Cups back in there, but whatever that King of Wands was like complaining about earlier in the month, it feels like now they've changed their tune. There's a lot of back and forth, right? And it is this manipulative energy, right? Like we've kind of seen this, whatever this is for you, that's kind of been hanging around, that won't let go, right? That's that energy. It won't let go no matter how you try to work with it. It's very stubborn. It's very resistant. And it can be this thing of like, again, like feeling like you're almost over and done with it. And you know it's just a little bit more, and then it doesn't happen. And again, there is some defeat that's coming out that I think is going to actually affect you personally, like, or challenge you is maybe a better way. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to affect you on some level, but it's about not taking it personally, is what I wanted to say, right? Because whatever this is, the devil energy, whatever's kind of popping up that's forcing you, we'll clarify this real quick. It's forcing you to make plans of action. It's forcing you to say, okay, again, like this is what it is. I obviously am needing to be in this energy for a little bit longer for whatever reason. Hammering out. The devil is often like the things that they are like those subconscious beliefs, those patterns, addictions, behaviors that aren't certain life-giving is what I should say, right? Let me clarify though what this is for you. Okay. Four of Wands, home, family, building stability. The Hangman, seeing things from a different perspective, a new perspective. Again, someone's perception. Knight of Cups. A lot of promises. I don't know. Someone's very good at, yeah, with the Two of Cups, someone's very good at speaking to your heart. And there is an offer. Let's see if this is, someone's coming in to explain something, explain why they did what they did, maybe get back in your good graces. It's putting a new twist on things. Again, this does feel very similar to that King of Cups energy, but now they're coming in as the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups is less mature than the King of Cups. And he's also a romantic. He's an idealist, right? He's very poetic and artistic and, you know, whatever falls under that umbrella. But his ability to actually follow through, he is that kind of quintessential Jupiter in Cancer that I was just talking about, like being lazy. Like this feels like someone who, you know, will love you to death, but then wants you to do everything for them type vibe. And again, not a lot of maturity, not a lot of follow through, but whoever this is to you, whatever this is to you, it's good at reminding you or kind of presenting things in a way that make it tantalizing, make it enticing. And again, this is someone or something that feels like it's changing its tune. And that's where you feel defeated. That's where you feel defeated because you want your autonomy, you want your independence. That's what feels to you in this present moment in time, that like that's what you need to do, you know? Or you're perceiving that like, again, you can be done and over with this situation. But someone's fighting. Like I said, someone's like really holding on tooth and nail. I'm going to pick some of these up. Someone's really holding on tooth and nail, and it's making it hard for you. Or it's just a different outcome than what you thought it was going to be. And it does make you go back to the drawing board. I don't know that this is necessarily what it looks like on the surface, because that's what I keep seeing for you. It's like you can't believe it. Like, don't believe the lies is what I want to say. And yeah, sometimes it's really hard to sift through what are lies and what are not. We're going to clarify this last energy, this last card. But again, you're going to be able to see and know what that is. I think whenever you're having this conversation or interaction, it is going to challenge you. It is going to challenge your perception. And maybe it does take a minute or a week to kind of process through. That's not a bad thing. It's actually better if you have the courage to sit with the feelings, sit with the emotions, and then allow yourself to process. That's the best thing we can do for ourselves, especially as it comes to health and well-being, right? Because when we don't process, when we shove it or don't release it, so to speak, that's when it ends up getting lodged into our mind, body, soul, and it creates disease, right? And I think that is part of this nourishing of the shadow, not letting some of the fear, some of the anxiety, or some of those places that you're afraid to look at, not letting it really dictate what you actually do. Yes, we're all afraid. We all have things that we don't want to see. But when we do, we're affording ourselves so much more opportunity to connect with life. And that's what this is all about. I hear it's basically saying, like, don't let yourself buy into the delusion. Don't let yourself buy into the untruths. And I think you are going to need some time for yourself, especially because we're seeing that pop up, like I was talking about with Mercury and Mars, Mercury and Black Moon Lilith. And especially when it comes to our healing, our growth, our evolution, Black Moon Lilith is also tensely aspected to North Node, which is part of that healing and evolution. You're seeing that something is going to require a lot of strength and a lot of determination. Again, I'm not seeing that it's like it's not going to happen, but maybe not quite yet. And that's where I think the value of self-investment is your best friend right now. Because as we're investing in ourselves, we're going to be attracting people that actually resonate and vibe with us. It is weeding out some of this past energy, but it's just moving in a weird way. Sorry, I know that that's not fun, but like I said, whatever you're dealing with, there's a lot of back and forth. And here's the thing, I'm seeing a solution at the end of it. Like, maybe it throws you for a loop. Maybe you do have to spend some time kind of going within and really collecting yourself, your thoughts. Maybe it feels insurmountable, but it's not necessarily the truth. And there's this like lurking feeling in the background with you that it is going to move in the way, whatever you're perceiving it to be. Even if something's trying to challenge it, let them do that. Let them say what they need to say and do what they need to do. It's their energy, right? And you can choose how much you really want to engage. Maybe you're forced to on some level. But again, we can all, like, it's like focus on what you can control is what I'm hearing. And there are ways to create separation and distance, even if you still have to interact, engage with an energy that's just like not what you want to be doing, right? Focusing on the bigger picture is what I'm hearing. All right, let's close it out with these intuitive oracle cards. Energetic boundaries, 100%. I love, I still am honestly always amazed. The cards never lie. Set clear boundaries to protect your intuitive power. And I feel like that's really the driving home driving home point. I hope I said that right, of this energy, this past energy that's up, down, back, forth, in and out, blah, blah, blah. It's making sure that you're still protecting yourself. And I do see you doing that. I think you proactively have to do it. And I think there's a moment in time where you're like, oh, phew, like this is actually like lessening or it's getting better or whatever. And then they come swooping back in. But it just doesn't feel like it's anything new under the sun. Maybe you're just hoping, right, that you're at the end or towards the end. But again, trust your path. No matter the obstacles, follow your intuition. It will lead the way. And that's the beautiful thing about our intuition is when we have to readjust, it's fabulous at doing that. I'm a huge proponent of meditation with a mantra, quieting our mind, our body, our soul down to that space where we really can tap into the creative potential. And that's what's going to help us reroute ourselves on the path that's important for us to be on. Not getting sucked into, whatever this person's situation, well, it should be more like this, whatever they're trying to throw your way, right? Because it is a intentional effort to throw something at you, that doesn't feel right. And it's their right to do whatever. Again, you can control how much you interact and engage. Really having those tools in your pocket of what your boundaries are going to be as you do have to engage, continuing to keep that bigger picture in mind and follow the signs. Pay attention to the signs around you. They carry an important message. I really love that as the closing card for us tonight because it is so important right now. There's a lot that we have to be very self-reliant on right now. We might not be getting the clear thumbs up, this is the way to go. We really do have to rely on our intuition, what our gut instincts are saying, especially when things feel off or, it's important to find solutions to whatever capacity you can. I know sometimes we can, and sometimes it feels like we just have to go with the flow, right? While it's happening, because there is some level of appeasement. Not that you have to become subservient to someone, but you might be put in a position where you feel like, WTF? Like, why am I here again? Or what is going on with this? I love this. I know. Whoop, whoop. There are signs all around. There's so much. I really feel that as well. Like, there's just a lot that's enlivening in our energy right now. And you're so true with what you're saying. Like, it's exciting. And I think that that's why we're like ready to go. And it looks like, again, these are more, it's more of a building and a strengthening of self, not being so paranoid that you're not good enough or that you can't do something or, and I know those are kind of broad statements, but the things that essentially keep us from trying new things out or opening up our life a little bit more, attracting through the glow, right? And there's so much happening right now that is exciting. And we do have to wait it out. I know that's so annoying, but honestly, that has been a theme for a hot minute. And the more patient we can be, the more we invest in ourselves, the stronger we're going to get, the more we are going to attract those blessings, those good things that make all this time, energy, effort worth it. And it's going to feel good. It's not a horrible Mercury retrograde, thank God, because I think I would have been a little annoyed. We have things going on, but there's way more support. There's way more and even if we do come into something that kind of hurts our feelings or really disappoints us about someone, something, it's that simple. Like, I think it's going to be easier within self to release it versus like attaching onto it so intensely, because your energy is showing you've done enough healing at this point where it's like you're not so desperate anymore. It's just going to be a bummer, right? A buzzkill. And like I said, you're going to be able to see through whatever this is very easily. You've been to that rodeo before. So, thank you so much for your time, energy, especially if you've made it this far. I really appreciate you. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. Definitely drop comments below if you did. I always love to hear, just connect with the community, say hey, share, and a little love, a little TLC. It is one of my favorite parts of doing the channel, and I so appreciate you guys always. Thank you so much for everything you bring my way, and know I'm sending love and blessings back to you. Have a fabulous Mercury retrograde. I will be live Monday evening for our weekly check-in.